Friday, 5 p.m. Jerusalem time. From NBC Studios, this is NBC Journal with Bassam Zahir and Sana Abu Samra.
Palestinian experts exceed 1 billion mark despite Israeli measures, says Premier.
Settlers attacks 2 Palestinians by an axe near Selfit.
Netanyahu says Israel must end settler violence.
Hello and welcome again. Israeli soldiers assaulted on Tuesday a number of Palestinians during at least 3 incidents of arrest in the West Bank, according to Palestinian sources. In one incident, soldiers assaulted 25-year-old Sulaiman Abdel Karim Musa in Beit Lahem after being detained at a checkpoint, according to Palestinian security sources. Musa maintained several cuts and bruises on his body, requiring hospitalization. In another incident, soldiers assaulted Muhammad Abdel Nasser Hamad, 23, during a raid at his home in the Ramallah area town of Silwa, in which dogs were unleashed on Hamad, said Palestinian sources.
The Israeli government's decision of not renewing the mandate of the temporary international presence in Hebron means that it has abandoned the implementation of agreements signed under international auspices and its obligations under these agreements, which is rejected and is unacceptable, said presidential spokesman Nabil Abu Rudaina on Monday. He noted, "We call on the countries sponsoring this agreement to take a clear stance from this grave Israeli position and to immediately act to pressure the Israeli government to continue implementation of the agreement as agreed and not to treat Israel as a state above the law."
President Mahmoud Abbas issued on Monday a decision by law immediately stopping the implementation of the Social Security law and its amendments. The decision called for the continuation of the dialogue between all concerned parties in order to reach the national consensus on the provisions of the law as well as the time for its implementation.
Israeli forces opened fire towards Palestinian farmers and shepherds along the borderline area to the east of the Gaza Strip, reported sources. Israeli forces stationed along the barbed wire fence between Israel and Gaza and opened fire at farmers and shepherds near Malika area, east of Gaza City, and Deir al-Balah City in the central Gaza Strip. No injuries or arrests were reported. Israeli forces demolished a number of agricultural rooms to the west of Beit Lahem and seized an agricultural tractor southeast of Tubas, said official and security sources. Israeli forces, also accompanied by a bulldozer, stormed Wadi al-Ghawit area in Hussein town, southwest of the southern West Bank district of Beit Lahem, and demolished a number of agricultural rooms under the pretext of being built in Area C, which is under full Israeli military control, said security sources.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of the State of Palestine reiterated its resolute condemnation of Israel's ongoing attempts to silence, delegitimize, and defund Palestinian civil society organizations and human rights defenders through its recent so-called money trail report published in January 2019. Said the ministry in a press statement, the report is an attempt by Israel, the occupying power, to silence peaceful protest against the occupation and to exclude human rights organizations from European funding, whilst smearing local activists who work to monitor against violations of human rights and provide information and analysis concerning the humanitarian crisis in the occupied Palestinian territory to the international community, said the statement.
United Kingdom Minister of State for the Middle East, Alistair Burt, on Sunday condemned the killing of a Palestinian by armed Israeli settlers in Al Mughayr village, northeast of Ramallah. "I condemned yesterday's violence in the West Bank, in which a Palestinian man was killed. My thoughts are with his family," Burt posted on his official Twitter account. Hamdi Tlaib Nassan, a 38-old father of 4, was killed by settlers from the illegal Adai Ad outpost after the latter raided the village on late Saturday. "Those responsible must be brought to justice," Burt added. Settler violence against Palestinians and their property is routine in the West Bank and is rarely prosecuted by Israeli authorities.
Israeli forces Monday detained 21 Palestinians in multiple overnight raids across the West Bank, said the Palestinian Prisoner Society. Israeli military vehicles raided Jenin city and refugee camp where 6 soldiers detained 6 Palestinians after ransacking their families' houses during the overnight raid in Jenin city. Soldiers stormed the office of the Popular Struggle Front, a political party, in Beit Lahem district. Forces conducted a raid in Beit Fajjar town, south of Beit Lahem city, rounding up 3 Palestinians, reported in the statement of similar raid into the nearby village of Al-Khadr, resulting in the detention of a Palestinian. Another was detained from the southern West Bank district of Hebron.
Israeli settlers attacked on Monday Palestinians in Masafer Yatta in the south of the West Bank, according to a local source. The coordinator of the Popular Committees Against the Wall and Settlements in the south of Hebron, Ratib Jabur, told Wafa that a number of Israeli settlers beat up unarmed farmers, leading to a fight between them that left a number of farmers with bruises. He noted that the settlers, operating under the protection of the Israeli forces, placed signs on the land to expand their illegal settlement and reach tents and caves where several Palestinian families reside.
In a step described as very dangerous, extremist Jewish lawmaker and rabbi Yehuda Glick violated on Monday the sanctity of Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, one of Islam's holiest sites, when he performed a wedding ritual inside the holy compound in a violation of standing rules. Glick, who led a group of fanatics Jews into the holy compound, filmed his matrimonial rituals inside the compound, according to the Muslim officials of the Waqf department in charge of Muslim holy sites in Jerusalem. Muslim officials have condemned the performance of Jewish rituals inside the Muslim compound, since rules do not allow non-Muslims from performing any religious rituals in the mosque.
Jewish settlers on Monday seized private Palestinian land near Beit Askaria, a Palestinian village surrounded by a number of illegal Israeli settlements that form the so-called Gush Etzion block to the south of the biblical city of Beit Lahem in the south of the occupied West Bank, according to a local source. Muhammad Ibrahim, head of the Beit Askaria village council, told Wafa that villagers were shocked to find out that the settlers have seized large plots of land that belong to the Ouda family in an area of the village located near the illegal settlement of Netivot. Ibrahim highlighted that the landowners have legal titles to the land, proving ownership, and are therefore going to contest the takeover in courts.
Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah Monday placed his government at the disposal of President Mahmoud Abbas, said government spokesman Youssef Al-Mahmoud. He said the Prime Minister and members of the cabinet that welcomed recommendations of Fatah Central Committee to form a new government. The recommendation came after reconciliation. Talks with Hamas have failed to consolidate unity and end more than 12 years of division between the West Bank and Gaza, which is under the Hamas rule following its coup against the Palestinian Authority in July 2007, and after the Constitutional Court ruled in December to dissolve the inactive Palestinian Legislative Council and hold new legislative elections within 6 months.
Egyptian authorities on Sunday opened for one day the Rafah border crossing on the border with the Gaza Strip in one direction to allow entry of Palestinian travelers from Egypt into the Gaza Strip. Wafa correspondents said the crossing was opened in one direction to allow entry of passengers awaiting entry into the Strip, especially humanitarian cases. The Rafah border crossing was shut down by Egypt on January the 5th after the Palestinian Authority pulled out its staff working at the Palestinian side of the border over disputes with Hamas, the de facto authority in Gaza. The crossing is Gaza's only gate to the outside world.
Dozens of Jewish settlers accompanied by Israeli security forces forced their way into Jerusalem's flashpoint Al-Aqsa Mosque on Sunday, according to local sources. Wafa correspondent said more than 40 extremist Israeli settlers broke into the holy mosque in groups under heavy protection from Israeli police. The settlers performed Talmudic rituals and prayers at the holy site. In late 2015, repeated incursions into Al-Aqsa Mosque compound by Jewish settlers and Israeli security personnel sparked months-long tensions in the occupied Palestinian territories.
UN Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process Nikolai Mladinov condemned in a tweet on Saturday evening the fatal shooting by Jewish settlers of a Palestinian man in the village of Al-Mughayr, northeast of Ramallah. Today's violence in Al-Mughayr is shocking and unacceptable, he noted, adding that Israel must put an end to settler violence and bring those responsible to justice. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the Palestinian man killed and those injured. All must condemn violence and stand up to terror.
Member of the PLO Executive Committee Hanan Ashrawi said on Saturday evening that the Israeli government and its allies are responsible for the rise in settler terrorism, referring to the fatal shooting of Jewish settlers of a Palestinian man in the village of Al-Mughayyar near Ramallah. Earlier on the day, Ashrawi condemned on behalf of the PLO the heinous murder of Hamdi Nassan, 38, and the injury of 30 other Palestinian civilians at the hands of armed Israeli settler militia. She stated in a press release, under heavy protection from Israeli forces, these militia raided an Al-Mughayyar village near Ramallah this Saturday, terrorizing the defenseless residents and wreaking havoc in the isolated village. Ashrawi held the Israeli government wholly responsible for that she described as hideous crime.
A Palestinian father and his son were lightly injured on Saturday evening after an Israeli settler attacked them with an axe near the village of Deir Istia to the north of Salfit town in the occupied West Bank, according to a local source. Said Zaidan, mayor of the village, told Wafa that a Jewish settler from a nearby illegal settlement attacked Muqbil Faris, a local citizen, and his son Yusuf while working in a farm of their own near the village and lightly injured them. There has been a noticeable increase in attacks by Jewish settlers on Palestinians and their properties over the past few days. Early this week, a Palestinian was also killed by settlers who attacked the village of Al-Mughayyar near Ramallah in the occupied West Bank.
Israeli settlers on Saturday shot dead a Palestinian youth and injured at least 9 others during clashes which erupted in the village of Al-Mughayyar, northeast of Ramallah, after a group of Jewish settlers attacked the village, according to the Ministry of Health. Hamdi Talib Nassan, 38, was announced dead by the ministry shortly after being critically injured by the Israeli settlers. 9 others were also injured. One of them is in a serious condition. Mayor of the village, Amin Abu Alayya, said the clashes erupted after a group of armed Jewish settlers attacked the outskirts of the village. Before local citizens attempted to fend them off, an Israeli army force later arrived to protect the settlers and clashed with defending locals, who in response threw stones at the soldiers.
Palestinian experts, and for the first time, have exceeded the $1 billion mark and reached 80 countries despite Israeli restrictions and obstructions. Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah said on Saturday, "I am proud to say that despite restrictions and measures by the occupation authority, our national experts, and for the first time, have exceeded the $1 billion mark, and our national products have reached more than 80 countries around the world. And we were able to increase foreign investment in our country to $3.4 billion, said Hamdallah, speaking at an event launching the new dairy company, Ataif Dairy and Food Products, in the northern West Bank city of Tulkarem.
Russia and Iran have warned the U.S. to stay out of Venezuela's as Washington's rival-backed President Nicolas Maduro. Top diplomats from Iran and Russia have spoken to their allegiance for Maduro, while also expressing their disapproval of any possible American intervention in the country. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif spoke by phone yesterday in the hope of uniting against America. In a statement, the Russian Foreign Minister said, the foreign ministers discussed the current developments in Venezuela and noted their shared readiness to help facilitate mutual understanding between responsible political forces and Venezuela in the interests of maintaining domestic peace and resolving present socio-economic challenges as soon as possible.
Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad has branded Israel a criminal state, hitting back at the decision to strip Malaysia of the right to host a major swimming event for refusing to let Israelis participate. I call upon those who sympathize with Palestine to express their condemnation. A proper strategy is needed to ensure peace for the Palestinian people, he noted. Muslim-majority Malaysia has no diplomatic relations with the Jewish state, and entry to the country on an Israeli passport is forbidden. And now moving to An-Najah National University's news.
The Board of Trustees of An-Najah National University praised the achievements and accomplishments by the Media Center, in which directed by engineer Ghazi Murtaja. This came during a visit by the Board of Trustees of the university, which included the President of the Council, Sabih Tahir al-Masri, and the Council members Farouk Toukan and Bashar al-Masri, Ammar al-Akir, Hani Nabulsi, Imad Salim, and Lamis al-Alami. In the presence of the acting president of An-Najah National University, Dr. Maher Al-Natshi, the delegation had a tour at the Media Center studios within its three arms: An-Najah Broadcasting Channel, An-Najah Radio, An-Najah News website. The head of Board of Trustees, Sabih Al-Masri, expressed his pride in the progress that the Media Center has reached during 3 years, praising the efforts of Director Ghazi Murtaja. Meanwhile, Mr. Murtaja pointed out that Al-Najah Broadcasting Channel has developed a distinctive mark with its youth staff and their efforts, adding the Media Center broadcasts many different programs, focusing on providing news bulletins on top of every hour.
The Canadian Representative Office to the Palestinian National Authority visits An-Najah. The representative of Canada to the Palestinian National Authority, Mr. Douglas Scott Proudfoot, met with his acting president of An-Najah National University, Professor Maher Al-Natshi, in Nablus at the university. They discussed academic matters of mutual interest, especially how to enhance memorandums of understanding between institutions in Canada and An-Najah, with the focus on implementation rather than signing.
I've been working in Ramallah for over 2 years now. I've been to Nablus a few times, but this is my first time really properly visiting An-Najah University. And it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. But I also wanted to speak to the university and to see about how Canadian and Palestinian universities can work together. An-Najah is the biggest Palestinian university and has many faculties. What I've spoken with Professor Natshi about is trying to identify specific areas where collaborative research or academic exchanges can take place between Canadian universities and An-Najah. There's already a relationship between McGill University in Montreal and McMaster University in Hamilton, but those are broad relationships. What we need to do is find specific areas where they can really work together. A free and independent media, press and broadcasting, and social media today is essential to a free and democratic society. And that means that both the Israeli occupation authorities and the Palestinian Authority have to respect a free press.
An-Najah Debate Society makes history participating in the World Universities Debating Championship. An-Najah National University Debate Society, represented by Sana Aslan, Radi Al-Barq, Muhammad Joba, participated in the World Universities Debating Championship from December 28, 2018 to January 4, 2019. Their participation marked the first time since the creation of WDC in 1976 that a Palestinian team competed in the prestigious tournament. During the tournament, NNUDS made history by being granted official recognition as a competing debate organization by the WDC Council.
These are the news of the week. Thank you for watching. For more details, visit our website nn.ps.
See you next Friday.